Hey, it's Minute Book Reports, and I have a lot of books, as you can see. And as 2016 sort of kicks off, I wanted to sort of change the way that I think about book collecting, and I know that for me, this is a pretty big change, and I just want to share it and maybe hear what you guys think about it because I'm not sure how it's gonna go actually. So I hope it's gonna be a better way of collecting books and acquiring books and owning books, but I guess we'll just have to see. So before I kind of talk about my new strategy or my philosophy on collecting books, I want to talk about the way that I used to collect books, which again, up until this point, that's the way that I used to think. After college, I moved and lived on my own, and I did like part-time jobs because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Basically, when I was living on my own, between my jobs, I bought a lot of books, and that's where I acquired most of the books that I own. I would go to like the libraries and the book sales and basically buy 2 to 4 books a week because like almost every day of the week in my area there was like a book sale. So I would just go and check it out and buy the books because they were so cheap, like 50 cents or $1, whatever. And I didn't think about space because I had so much space at the time. I didn't think about, well, the cost, and I didn't think about moving, which I think about a year or so later, I had to move. I went back to grad school, and so by doing that, I had to pack up all my books, which again, over a year's worth of buying every week. It's quite a bit of books, and it cost me a lot of money. So during grad school, I bought more books because that's what you do in grad school. You just read more, right? So I bought more books and didn't lose any books or give away any books, so I was acquiring more books now, and I didn't know what to do because now I was running out of room because of the place that I was living. I was a poor grad student, but I still kept on buying books, and then I moved again. And when I moved again, that's where the space was almost unbearable, and I actually had to give away some of my books at that point because I did not have any room. But now that I'm here, my book collection is starting to grow again, and I decided that it's time for me to change the way that I think, where it's not about quantity, it's gonna be more about quality. And that's not to say that if you have a lot of books or someone has a lot of books that it's bad or that their books are bad, because all my books, I like them, or else I wouldn't have bought them, or unless it was a gift, I guess. I like all the books that I own. I want to do a limited, high-impact book collection. Basically, what that means is I want to just have books that fit on my little bookshelf, my little 3-foot tall bookshelf. That's it. That's going to be sort of the capacity of all the books that I own. And I think by doing that, it'll not only save me money and space, but I think it'll help to keep me more focused on what I read, and hopefully I'll get to know the books that I actually do own a lot better rather than just buying books and not having read some of them. And there's nothing wrong with not reading books that are on your bookshelf. It's just for me and in my current situation, and I think the time of my life, I need to start thinking about those types of things because I don't have a lot of room. I see a lot of people, they have like a lot of space. I wish I could have a wall or a room or two where I could put my books, but I don't have that. You know, I have that bookshelf. I have one bookshelf and that's it. This sort of thing came about because I watched a TED Talk by Dave Bruno, and he had this 100 things challenge where basically he reduced the size of the things that he owned to just 100. He was able to live for quite a while, and it just made me think about reducing the number of books that I own and seeing if that's okay. And I think that he did this because he wanted to prove that although our culture is a culture of excess, that you don't actually have to live that way, and that you can actually live a sort of minimalistic lifestyle, and it can be just as fulfilling. So coincidentally, the number of books that fit on my bookshelf is about 100, which again, that wasn't really pre-planned, it just kind of worked out that way. I'm basically gonna cut my book collection to 100 books, and the way that I'm gonna determine this is based on that high impact sort of character, I guess, if books do have character. So all the books that I'm gonna own that fit on the bookshelf are gonna be books that either I really enjoyed reading and I can see myself rereading again and talking about, or they will be books that have sentimental value that I either got from mentors or teachers or some as gifts. But basically, I want to be able to know the books that I do own very well. I guess for me, instead of having 500 books where I don't know them that well, I'd rather have 100 books or 50 books or 10 books that I just know so well and that I can talk about and share and let people borrow and be excited about because I know the book so well, because I've read it multiple times and it really meant a lot to me. So with my 100 book collection, how will new books get in? And I have to think about that because it's sort of a cool advantage for the books that I do own, right? They sort of get grandfathered into this system, but they do have a chance to sort of get replaced, and any books that I do end up getting rid of will be donated to a library because they probably can't be sold, I think, because no one would want to buy them. So if I do want to replace one of the books on my shelf, or I'm interested in a book that I see that I don't currently own, what I'm gonna do is, instead of just buying it and plopping it on my shelf, I'm going to actually borrow it from the library or from a friend. I'm gonna read the book, and if I feel like the book is a keeper, if it's that high impact type of book, then I'm gonna buy it, and at that point I'm gonna have to find room for it by replacing it with one of these books that I currently own. And that's gonna be tough, you know, definitely gonna be tough to do because I like all these books. But I do know that there's sort of a hierarchy within the books that I do own. There's probably a top 10 books that I own that I don't see getting replaced anytime soon. I hope that in 2 to 3 years, as I read more, as I acquire more books, that my book collection will have changed, because I think by limiting the number of books and replacing the books, it makes me kind of think a little bit more about what I'm actually reading and what I'm owning, because, well, if I really like a book, then I know that a book that I currently own has to go. So I don't know how this is gonna go, and it could go terrible, or I could not want to upkeep it, but I think it could be great for me at least. And I'm not saying that everyone should do this. This is just something that I'm gonna try for myself, because I think it's time that I change the way that I think. Again, as I'm getting older, as my life is sort of changing and I'm sort of entering a new season in my life, I just can't buy that many books, and the way that I think about reading is different. You know, I really want to know the books that I do own. I want to be able to talk about them, and I really do want to be able to quote or just get excited about the books that I own and be very proud of the books that I have. I'm not saying this is for everyone, but I would like to know how you collect books, if you do collect books. Like, what are your criteria? Is it space? Is it quantity? Is it the price? Like, what goes on when you decide if you're gonna buy a book? And how do you deal with space when it comes to just the size? I mean, these books take up space. This isn't for everyone, this is just for myself, but I'm excited to see sort of what happens, and I hope that it works out. And in 5 years, my collection will change. In 10 years, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, I hope that I can look back at some of the books that did survive, and I can be like, yeah, that book was really great. I had it way back. You know, it survived 50 years of competition, where year after year there were new books that I could have bought and added, but I decided that this book was worth keeping, and I'm looking forward to when that sort of happens. So thanks for watching this video, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.